Hi, it's Brett again, and I'm back in the kitchen today doing another recipe suitable for your herbal detox program. And today what I'm doing is a homemade tomato and leek soup. This is a nice warming one, so it's going to spice things up a little bit. So I'll just go through the ingredients I've got here. I've got some leek, 4 tomatoes, 4 onions, about half a dozen cloves of garlic, and I've got some tomato paste, miso paste, and also some diced tomatoes, some herbs and spices which we're going to throw into the mix. So let's get into it. Okay, so what we've got here is some tomatoes and leeks and onions, and I'm just going to chop these up now for the soup. I'll start with the garlic. The good thing with leeks, garlic, onions, they're all really high in sulphur, and so these foods are super good for your immune system because sulphur acts like a natural antibiotic. So you can never have too much garlic, too many onions, especially during the winter or when there's coughs and colds around. So this is a really good soup to have if you're worried about catching a cold. Alright, we'll just leave this garlic nice and chunky again. It's a good idea to leave your garlic a little bit chunky because if you squash it up, when you cook it, all the sulphur is released. So it's good to have a little bit of chunky garlic in your food. Alright, we'll do these onions now. The good thing with onions too, they're a really powerful anti-inflammatory. So one of the things you can do with onions is, just onions on their own, is dice them up really fine, mix them with a bit of honey, and you get a great remedy for inflammation of the lungs. It's really effective against asthma. The big onions are much easier to peel, so you probably want to get one big onion rather than 2 little ones like I have. What I'm doing is also mixing in some white onions and red onions just to give it a bit more flavour and a bit of contrast. Alright, so we'll dice these onions up as well. I'm just going to get the oil on. So I've got a soup pot on the oven on the stove top there, and I'm just going to warm the oil up while we finish chopping. So with the tomatoes, we're just going to be chunky with them. I've just got 4 little tomatoes here. We could have 2 or 3 big tomatoes. This is going to make enough for 2 people. And last of all, the leek. Just take the end off that. And so with this leek, I'm going to slice it down the middle a couple of times. I'm going to want this leek to be quite small in the soup. This is going to be a little bit chunky, this soup, so we want to be able to just get it on our spoon. That'll do us. Great. So now we'll get things into the pot. Okay, so I'm just going to throw the garlic and the onions. I'll turn that fan off so you can hear me. Throw the garlic and the onions in there first. And the leek. I'll just hold off on the tomatoes for a minute. That's just in some hot olive oil. Just going to saute that for a minute. Might actually just throw a little bit of butter in there too. Just throw a bit of butter in there just to give it a bit of creaminess. The good thing is when you put a bit of oil and butter together, the butter doesn't burn, so you can have it quite hot. We just want to, we don't want to use margarine because although a lot of margarine has a heart tick and they say, oh, it's good for your heart, most margarine is still processed, and especially the cheaper margarines, you get end up with a lot of trans fatty acids, which you don't want. So olive oil and a bit of butter together is a really good combination. So we've got all our leek and onions in there just softening up. And while that's happening, I'm just going to throw in a good teaspoon of, it's a large teaspoon of turmeric, and also a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. So this is going to warm it up. You could use paprika if you don't like to get it too hot. If you don't like things too hot. Paprika also has a bit of capsaicin, which is the active part of the cayenne pepper, which is really, really good for you as an anti-inflammatory and helps with reducing pain and helps the heart function. And then I'm going to throw some caraway seeds in here. Those caraway seeds give it a really nice flavour. They're aromatic. So a good teaspoon of caraway seeds as well. Right, so once this is softened down, I'll throw in the tomatoes. And also the diced tomatoes. And a bit of tomato paste. I've got about 100 grams of tomato paste here. This will make it nice and rich and tomatoey. And I'm just going to fill the can with water and add some water to that. Now really this is pretty much it. It's just a matter of cooking the soup down, maybe adding some more water to it because it's quite thick and chunky at the moment. So we'll water this down once things have warmed through and all combined really nice. And then we'll serve this up. Actually, last of all, I'm going to add a bit of miso paste, but I won't add this now. What I'll do is I'll let this cook a little bit. I'll put the miso paste in right at the last minute because the miso paste is ruined by heat because it's got some really good active, it's got a soya, it's a soya extract, so it's got what it's got in it is called a phytoestrogen, which is really good for your hormonal system, and we don't want to damage that, so I'll put that in at the last minute, just before serving. Alright, so we'll leave this to cook for 5 or 10 minutes and see how we go. Get over here. Okay, the soup's ready. It didn't take long at all, only about 10 minutes. Because everything's chopped up quite fine, it just needs a simmer for a few minutes and it's all ready to go. Look at that. Not the usual thing you'd think of, making tomato soup with turmeric in it and cayenne pepper, miso and all that, but it's absolutely beautiful. Extremely good for you. This is a really great thing to do on a detox program. The tomatoes and tomato paste are really high in lycopene too, so it's really, really good for guys, especially with prostate problems. And it's a powerful antioxidant, so it's hugely protective for the brain as well. Alright, I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley to that. This is just fresh chopped parsley out of the garden. And also a little bit of salt and pepper. So what I've got is some Himalayan rock salt, and Himalayan rock salt's really good for giving you a broad range of minerals. Salt's really important actually. Doesn't pay to completely avoid salt. And pepper. So black pepper also. Black pepper is an amazing product. It's really healthy for you. It boosts your metabolism. So there you go. Tomato, leek and onion soup. So I hope you give this a try and enjoy it. And I'd love to hear some feedback and how you're getting on with things and with your detox program. And also click the link on the page if you want to get more recipes from us. Sign up and get some more recipes. So thanks for watching.